In this video, I just wanted to talk about the installation of our 16-foot farm style driveway gate. Overall, it wasn't too expensive and was pretty simple and looks good. So hopefully this can help if you're doing something similar. First thing we did was mark out, we wanted the driveway gate to sit far enough back on the driveway so that we could fully pull on with a truck and trailer. So using a long tape measure to do that, and then either side of that point using 2 wooden stakes to mark out a 16-foot gap, and then also marking out a circle where we would dig with some orange spray paint. Using the clam shell style digger to remove the soil, as well as a dig bar. So yeah, it's a pretty long process. These holes were going to be 3 foot deep and about 1 foot to 1.5 foot diameter for 6x6 ground contact 8-foot posts. So yeah, 3 foot deep and about 1 to 1.5 foot diameter holes. Takes a while. Dig bar is good for removing soil, and the clamshell digger is good for pulling it out of the hole. And then yeah, there's the 3-foot holes. We also used a tamper just to tamp down the bottom of them. Put the posts into the holes and just spent a while making sure that they were squared up with each other, and that they were a correct distance from each other using the tape measure again, the long tape measure. But you can also stand behind the posts and sort of eye down it just to make sure that it's squared up with the other. Once you're happy with it, you can then so yeah, another thing we did to make sure the posts were level were using those post levels. They're really handy. And then once we're happy that they're squared on and level, we applied the scrap wood to brace them for when we would be pouring in the concrete. Then the next day was the concrete process itself. So we initially thought that it would require about 6 to 7 bags, 60-pound bags of quickcrete per hole. In actual fact, it ended up being 9 bags in one hole and 10 bags in another. So had to go to a store and get some more. So I'd recommend buying more bags than you need initially, and then returning them if you don't need them. That's easier than going and having to buy more bags mid-project. So yeah, the process was generally pouring in 1 to 2 bags of the quickcrete mix into the hole, and then we're off grid here, so I think your best bet would be if you had a hose and you're on a water supply, you could just spray the water in with a hose. So because we can't do that, we're just using a water bottle. We'd fill it up with the correct ratio of water. The ratio of water needed per concrete bag can be found on the bag itself or also online. But yeah, adding in the correct amount of water. You generally aiming for like a thick porridge slurry type consistency. Don't want it too thin because then it won't set very well, and also don't want it too thick because then again it won't provide the strength that you're looking from concrete. So adding in the water, and then would use a 4-foot piece of rebar just to sort of stir it like a witch would stir something in a cauldron. Yeah, quite a long process, but nothing too difficult and better than digging the holes anyway. Top of the post where the concrete is, you want the concrete sloping away from the post just to prevent water from pooling around the post, and increases the longevity of your post if you do that. So slope the concrete away. And then I ran a string level between the tops of the 2 posts just to make sure they're in line, and they were actually. I didn't have to take off the top of either one of those posts. About a week later then we came back to stain. If these had been sitting for longer, exposed longer, you might want to pressure wash or apply a cleaner. They'd only been sitting a week, so we just brushed off with a painter's wire brush. And then yeah, adding the stain. Staining the post was really easy. I had about a drying time of about 1.5 hours between each stain, and we only done 2 stains. Yeah, just simple painting, really easy. So yeah, stained up the posts, And then the next step was we wanted to add solar light fixtures to the tops of each of the posts, just to help us navigate to them when they're dark, avoid us going into either one of the posts, hopefully. Got these off Amazon and really easy to install. They came with adapters for 4x4 posts, or 6x6 or 5x5. So you just screw in the correct adapter for your post, and then you just turn clockwise the light fixture on top. Again, I'll link all of the stuff that I used in the description, but see, they work well and they light up, so it's all good. I was just attaching the latch for the gate here, so this is just so that when you close it, it latches in to an area and you don't have to secure it with a chain around the post. It gives you a space to padlock it. Add in the J-bolts where the gate would hang, using a 1/2 inch drill for the 3/8 inch J-bolts. That's what I believe they are, 3/8 inch J-bolts. So yeah, 1/2 inch drill, and then starting the J-bolts by hand, and then using a wrench to turn the rest of the way. You want the top J-bolt, the J to be facing downwards, and the bottom J-bolt with the J facing upwards. So this prevents people just lifting the gates off those J-bolts and stealing the gates if they were so inclined. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of us actually hanging the gate. What we did was attach a level to the middle of the gate using a clamp, just to make sure it was staying level while we were hanging the gate. It was a 2-person job, definitely. You can use cinder blocks as well underneath the gate while you're hanging, just to help it maintain its levelness. And then yeah, once it's on the bolts, you just secure the clamps around the bolts. You can see the latch here in action, so yeah, works pretty well and overall looks good. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you.